It is Thursday, July 18th, 2024. This is episode 27 of the Carlos Whittaker podcast. Are you feeling the vibe? I got one question. Y'all ready for this? Come on. Hey. I'm feeling it. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, I am actually rocking my To Right Love in Her Arms shirt. Hold on, I'm backing up here. How are you really doing? Like, really? That's the question that my friends were asking me on Sunday morning when I woke up with, 3,000 less Instagram followers. Carlos, how are you really doing? Really? Oh man, I forgot how much I vibe to this. I haven't been in my home for the last 27 days. And so I haven't been able to record a podcast here, but I'm back home and it feels good and right. We will fade out Dr. Delight. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Oh man. Well, fam, here we are. What a freaking week it's been. We're going to dive into all of the, just the madness that America's in, the madness that is social media, the madness and the rage ecosystem that we're living in, all of it. I've scrapped the episode I was going to release today so that I can just talk. And you know what? Talking gets me in trouble, but it also gives some people some words that they haven't been able to necessarily find on their own. If you see anything on my lip, by the way, I am eating, this is kind of where I'm at emotionally. I got a spoon in a bottle or a little tub of Nutella, and I'm just eating it. And sometimes I keep finding it on my cheek and my lips. And so I apologize for those of you looking at my face right now instead of just listening. That's what you find. That's what you see. Okay. Nutella. Is it Nutella or Nutella? I don't know. But it's just kind of like my little safety blanket. It's my little binky as we talk about some hard things today, with the hopes of pointing us towards some semblance of a plan and of, I don't know, some pillars. You know, I feel like I don't ever want to be misunderstood. And I don't think I'm being misunderstood, but I think by putting up some pillars of maybe planting some of those pillars under the foundation of what it is that I keep talking about. Don't stand on issues, walk with people, like get in the chariot, open your heart, open your hand. Like, what does that really mean? All of those things. So I have worked hard diligently crafting a few statements that I think are going to help us. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, let's just rewind. Let's just go. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's jump into the absolute shocking news that happened on last Saturday. I was in northern Michigan, in Leland, Michigan, at a lake with some friends, and we had just gotten out to a sandbar on this lake. First of all, Lake Leland is the most beautiful lake I've ever seen. Like, it looked like we were in the Bahamas. The water was so clear. So we're at the sandbar. You know, it's like lake living, right? And so like I'm out, I got my beer in my hand. Everyone's up to their waist in the middle of the lake, but not really the middle of the lake, but we're on a sandbar, right? And so like it's like good vibes. And then somebody yells from one of the boats, "Trump got shot." And I don't know. I think we're all going to remember where we were when we first heard those moments, because this is going to mark the history of America. It just is. When a former president and a presidential candidate has an attempted assassination on their life in the way that we were all able to see it in real time because of social media, it'll mark us. And I don't know where you were, but I was on a sandbar, around a lot of proud Americans. There was a lot of American flags. It was lake life, right? And to hear that and then to watch everybody kind of one by one, slowly but surely get back in their boats to process the information. And at this point, like, I didn't have much signal and I'm trying to figure out what happened. Did he die? Was it an attempt? Is he okay? Is he in the hospital? Is it critical? Like, what's going on? And I pretty quickly was able to see, just through Twitter, I didn't know how okay he was, but I saw him get up and I saw him kind of pump his fist and the blood, and I saw all the things, and I just thought, where have we gotten? Where have we gotten? So my process that kind of for a couple hours was just like, how are we here? We have we're living in such a place of rage, right? It went from anger to rage. People are raging. And we've got one of two decisions: either pour fuel on the rage or try to put out the rage. I don't think we can tiptoe around the rage. We either try to snuff it out or we stoke it. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to stuff out the rage. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. So a few hours later, after I found out, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I actually I remember back in maybe it was 2012. I think it was 2012. When was that President Obama? 12, 16, 20. No, 2008 was. I can't remember. Maybe it was the beginning of his second term. But during the election of that year, I did this thing on Instagram. I don't think it was like a thing back then, but it was on Twitter and it was on my blog. And I titled it Praying Backwards. Now, some of you may be OGs and remember this, but I made a little graphic with a donkey and an elephant. And I said, praying backwards. And I said, tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to come together live. I think at that point it was like Real Player or Windows Media Player. I can't remember how I was streaming live back then, back in the ancient of days, 12 years ago. But I said, this is what we're going to do. Tonight, I'm going to lead prayer for the two candidates for president of the United States. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have all of the Democrats pray for the Republican nominee. And I'm going to have all the Republicans pray for the Democratic nominee. And I remember even back then, the pushback that I got. I said, no, man, listen, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. Now, I hadn't heard from my friend Mike. I hadn't been taught that our catchphrase, our phrase that we live by, don't stand on issues, walk with people. I didn't know that, but it was in me, right? So I did it. And I remember it was so freeing for so many people. They're like, you know what? Like, I just never looked at this candidate as a human, but we prayed for their families. We prayed for their health. We prayed for all the things. And so it was called praying backwards, and because it just didn't feel like the normal way to pray, right? Pray for people that you don't necessarily like. And so I remember sitting on the boat. We went on another little boat ride to kind of end the evening. And I had my little, I think Darren had made me a Manhattan. Yeah, I'm just sipping it on the boat, watching the sunset. And I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pray. This is how I can unify. We're going to pray. We're going to come together. We're going to pray. I don't care what your political beliefs are. We're going to pray for the health of Donald Trump. We're going to pray for his family. We're going to pray for our nation. So what we're going to do, we're going to pray. So I wrote out a prayer, and I found a picture of him, and I put the prayer on top of it. And I posted it. New partner alert. I am so freaking pumped about this. This is actually mind-blowing. We are partnering with Lumen. What in the world is Lumen, you may ask? I just got mine and I love it. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. Seriously, it's a device, and it's the coolest little thing that measures your metabolism through your breath. Y'all thought that AI was crazy. Now we're just breathing into things and it's telling us, yo, you need to speed up or slow down. It's crazy. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs. And it gives you a tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management, all through your breath. It's crazy. All you got to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for the day based on your measurements. It is crazy, okay? Now, why in the world does metabolic health matter? Because your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. And if I'm gonna become a professional pickleball athlete, I need to know what my metabolism is doing. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health. Okay, that's what it does. It also can track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause, which I don't think I'm going to struggle with, but maybe some of you could do. And adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and stave off the cravings. This is what you need to do. Go to lumen.me/Carlos to get 15% off your Lumen. That is lumen.me/Carlos for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. If you have been a part of the Insta Familia, you know that we have raised millions of dollars for people in need. And one of the ways that we have done that is through GoFundMe. The very first Insta Familia giving blitz we did was through GoFundMe, and we ended up raising $20,000, I think, in like 15 minutes. It is so easy. The user interface is so incredible, and GoFundMe is the place where you can make sure when you raise money, you know it is happening in the best way possible. So listen, research shows that people actually like it when you ask for help. They really do. So why are you keeping it all to yourself? Why are you keeping your needs to yourself? If there's something that you're trying to raise money for, you can do that through GoFundMe. GoFundMe is the most trusted place to raise funds. It's a lot easier than you think, and it only takes a few minutes. With GoFundMe, you can get your fundraiser up and running literally in a few taps. They have everything you need to help your fundraiser succeed. They got tips, they got resources, and they also have tools to help along the way. Here's the cool thing. GoFundMe has a community of over 150 million people, right? That is a lot of people that use GoFundMe. Plus, you can withdraw your funds at any time, even if you don't reach your goal. So the next time you need help with your fundraiser, make sure you just tap the green start button on GoFundMe. It is free to start, free to manage, and designed to help you reach your goals. Start your fundraiser today through my special URL. You want to use this one, trust me, GoFundMe.com/Carlos. And as one of my listeners, you will get a free coaching session with a GoFundMe expert, whether you're starting a fundraiser today or later down the line. That is huge. You got to talk to somebody from GoFundMe. Start today at GoFundMe.com/Carlos. That's GoFundMe.com/Carlos. And let me read you actually what I wrote. I haven't deleted it. A prayer for President Trump in our country. I said, I know not everyone here calls themselves a Christian, and so don't feel the need to pray this if you aren't. But if you are, no matter your political affiliation, we are called to pray in times like this. I may not have ever voted for him, but I'm happy to pray for him. Clue phone for anybody that's new to this podcast and doesn't know about political beliefs. I definitely don't consider myself a conservative or a liberal. I'm kind of, it depends. I'm a little liberal on some things, a little conservative on some things, right? Nothing kind of really finds me. Anyway, that's an aside. So I said, I may not have ever voted for him, but I'm called to pray for him. And I, for one, sometimes need words to help me pray. So I typed out some for you if you feel like you need them. I prayed them already, and I'll pray them again. This is what I said. Father, I come right now and I lift up President Trump. I bring him under your authority and covering. Thank you for protecting his life. And we ask continued healing over his injuries, his whole body and mind. Full and complete healing in Jesus' name. Restore and renew his body and mind back to kingdom order. Thank you that your word says you came to heal us. And so we bring the full work of the cross, especially the resurrection power over President Trump's body and mind. May that trauma of the assassination attempt be covered by your grace. I also continue to pray for our country right now. I bring the full work of Christ against the enemy and his lies. Yeah, I know this is super Christian for some of you guys that aren't Christians, but just go with me. We bind all lies filled with violence in the name of Jesus. We bring your peace and truth to flood our country's soul. We bind words of hate, vengeance, that the enemy may be whispering and send them, Jesus, we bind the name of Jesus, all fear, hate, and violence. Thank you for healing. It's who you are. We invite you into President Trump's home, his dreams, every space. May his spirit, soul, mind, body, and heart be filled with your presence. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh my gosh. I was not prepared. I was not prepared for a couple things. I wasn't prepared for the absolute rage that filled. I'm actually a little triggered reading the comments right now. I don't need to be triggered right now. I am triggered by, floored by the rage. Now, here's what I understand. I understand that in the moment, people were feeling a lot of things. People have felt a lot of things from President Trump. They felt abandoned. They felt assaulted emotionally by his words, or offended by him, or whatever. Not assaulted like in I shouldn't use that word. They offended. They've a lot of people don't like him. I do not love the man in a human sense, like as far as like, oh my God, I love who he's about. No, you guys I've talked about this numerous times, but just because I may not like somebody doesn't mean as a Christian, I'm not called to pray for them. So I prayed. I just thought, I'm going to pray for him. And man, it was, I was shook that evening. It was akin to when in 2020, the rage that I got when I made a video saying, dear white friends, this is what you can do to support the Black community in light of Ahmaud Arbery's shooting. The same rage, the same unfollows. I mean, thousands and thousands, I think over 5,000 people unfollowed me in the next 48 hours. And they let me know it, man. They let me know, how dare you? That man is a bleep and bleep bleep. And you know, how dare you pray for him? What about praying for these people? How come you didn't pray for the? And I'm like, wow, we can't even pray for somebody anymore without that becoming some political statement. And it shook me. And I guess, like, and I know some people may have unfollowed me because they're like, again, this isn't a blanket statement. Some people may have unfollowed me because they're like, you know what, if Carlos is going to start talking about politics on his Instagram again, I'm just going to peace out for a little bit. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I won't. But I'm assuming the majority of people, this is an assumption, but the majority of people unfollowed because they weren't hip with me praying for President Trump. It was a simple prayer. I read you the thing. I wasn't like, bless his ideas and, save our nation under him. Yeah, no, it was just simple. So here I am just floored that night. And I think the saddest part is that I've been teaching on my book, How to Human, the last 2 years. How to Human. 3 ways to share life beyond what distracts, divides, and disconnects us. And I thought that the people that were on this journey with me on Instagram, and most are, but I don't know. I thought if people hit follow and they kind of scroll, maybe people don't look at my account. But what I think happened is I realized I think I've been off assignment. And I know, listen, I've had my dad, dementia. We've called hospice now in the last week. So hospice is now a part of our journey. So I'm working with hospice nurses and the caretakers and social workers. And we're trying to prepare my dad for this season of his life. So I know I haven't necessarily been on assignment on socials, but I've been on assignment with my father and my family. But I realize that I have not been teaching enough on socials on what it truly means to walk with people that you vehemently disagree with. So I made a reel, and I'm going to play the reel for you. I actually don't know if this is hooked up to my, Nope, it's not. So I'm going to have Brad, my editor, amazing Brad, put in the audio to my reel. It was a 11-minute reel. Definitely so funny when people sharing the reel, they're like, this is a little long, but it's worth listening to. And I'm like, 11 minutes is long? When did 11 minutes get long? But I'm going to play it right here because I want you to hear my heart the next morning after I woke up to thousands and thousands of people that had publicly unfollowed me, which, by the way, if you're going to unfollow somebody, just remember, you're not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure, right? Just hit unfollow. So I'm going to play this for you, and I want you to listen so that you can hear where the Lord put me the next morning. Here's that piece. Buenos días, esta familia. I haven't shared this yet, but 2 days ago, we finally called hospice for my dad. That was really hard. But my mom needs it. My dad needs it. And that's a whole other conversation of where I've been sitting the last few days. Just the pain of it and the fear and anxiety that comes with knowing knowing where we are in his journey. And so, but also knowing all the things that my dad taught me, all the ways that he has shown me how to walk with people that he vehemently disagrees with, or walk with people that, he had to do it when we moved to the South. We moved to the South in the 70s and to Atlanta. And my dad, we ended up going to a church where a lot of the deacons didn't want my father and my family there because of the color of our skin. And I remember the rage that would build inside of me because, Dad, why are we here? Why are we going to a church that we're not wanted? And I just remember my dad looking at me and saying, these men don't know better. And they need to know and they need to understand who Jesus is. And so my dad would take us there, and I grew up, some of my best friends were at that church, but knowing some of those men and how they would look at my dad, and they didn't want us. And I just grew up watching my father live this out. So it's in me, right? It's in me. So even though my father can no longer communicate because of his dementia, and his past words are still communicating to me. So yesterday, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if my dad was still in his right mind, he would have called our family together and annoyingly been like, okay, we got to pray. And so I called a family meeting yesterday to do exactly what I feel like we still are supposed to do. You don't have to go far back in my feed to figure out my thoughts on, just go back to 2020 and 2021 in my feed, and you'll see my thoughts on the individual I prayed for yesterday. And I have had moments on this app where I wanted to delete the thing I knew God was asking me to post, because it would have been easier for me. So, this morning, I'm 4,000 less followers. I could be 20,000 by the end of this. Half of you, all you may be gone. There may just be 5 of us left. And what I want to do is delete. Why? Because deleting something is easier than doing the thing that I feel called to do. Why is deleting something easier? Because my flesh is like, oh, if I delete it, then it'll everyone will feel better. It'll go away. And then I think that's the problem, I think, with people that are calling themselves Christians and not walking like Jesus did. And I've seen this from both sides, right? So let's just go through the history of rage that I have gotten because of either praying for certain individuals we had. Let's go back to when I was invited to pray at the White House by President Obama and his team. I got to pray at the Easter prayer breakfast, and I got to lead worship at the Easter prayer breakfast.
when I posted that, the rage that I got, I was very unexpected. This was kind of before kind of the rage ecosystem that we're living in right now. But the venom that I got from people, like, how could you lead worship and pray in that White House with that man? It was horrible. So that was 2015. I lost a whole lot of followers. I remember wanting to delete it. Then 2 years later, I happened to be in Wyoming, and I got to pray with Vice President Dick Cheney. Same thing, the comment section. You could probably still find it if you dig back long enough. It was horrible, and it felt horrible, and I wanted to delete it. 2020, Ahmaud Arbery gets shot. I post a video called "What My White Friends Can Do for the Black Community." That one I lost about a third of my followers. The rage, it was horrible. And that was as close to deleting something, because at that point, when I lost a third of my followers, I was a newer author, and this is the way I support my family, is, through a platform where I get to talk about my ideas and my books and courses and things. And that one I did hit delete. But then a pop-up screen popped up, and I don't know if Instagram still does this, but it says, "Are you sure?" And so I didn't. I kept it. That actually began to grow my platform into where it is today, because I was talking things of justice, things that I still believe in. Again, I want you to see the pendulum and how it keeps swinging from one perspective to another, from one worldview to another. And then so yesterday I posted this prayer on praying for Trump, and it's happening again. It's like a Instagram enema. I'm losing all of this excess, and I wanted to delete it again. And I guess I'm putting this out here because I know, I know it's hard for, I don't blame anyone that isn't a Christ follower that unfollowed me yesterday, because they're like, that's insane. That sounds insane if you're not a Christ follower. So I am not offended by comments of people that don't call themselves Christ followers, because they don't understand my perspective and where I'm coming from. But it's the ones that are, that do call themselves Christ followers, that hurts. I go to Matthew, Sermon on the Mount. This is Jesus talking, right? I look at Jesus and all the radical things that he did, and think, this man was probably called insane for saying things like, "You have heard that it was said," this is Jesus talking, "love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father in heaven." If I deleted that post where I prayed for Trump, I would be directly in opposition to the words of Jesus. And, I would much rather forfeit thousands of people that can't stomach the words of Jesus than forfeit following him. Listen, and I've been told to not talk about Jesus as much on my Instagram, because I may not get booked in the corporate space that I'm being booked a lot more in to speak. I've been told to tone it down when I talk about my faith, because maybe, it's just, No. I've never voted for Donald Trump. But I will continue to pray for him. When assassination attempts become normalized as a viable option, to move us into a space that we feel our political system is for us. No, I'm not going to let that happen. So, I know many of you lean left. I know many of you lean right. This is always going to be a space where don't stand on issues, walk with people is a real thing. And for those of you that remain here, I'm grateful that you're here. This is hard work. It's not easy. But it's the work I've been called to. I'm going to stay on assignment. I'm not getting off assignment.
Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other nasty junk that our kids should never eat. That is why HERE was created. It is the pediatrician-approved superpower chewable vitamins. Now listen, I know what you're thinking about kids' vitamins. When I was growing up, we ate candy. It was candy, and I think they called it vitamins. I get it. My parents were doing the best that they can. But now we've got more info. Formulated with the help of nutritional experts, HERE is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, and then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin D, B12, C, zinc, and folate, and so many others that help support our kids and get them to grow into the healthy adults that we want them to be. Okay, listen, we've worked out a special deal with HERE for their best-selling children's vitamins. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you got to go to hiyahealth.com/humanhope. This deal is not available on their regular website. Just go to hiyahealth.com/humanhope and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Did you guys know that Americans spend an average of 90% of their time indoors and take about 20,000 breaths a day? Can somebody please go on a hike? Anybody? Can somebody just get actually, while you're listening to this podcast right now, if you're in the car, open the window, please breathe some outside air. If you're walking around your house, go outside. If you're sitting on a sofa, go outside. Can you just take 20 breaths outside? Because it's a lot healthier. But since we're inside so long, what do we do with the air that we're breathing? I'm telling you, this is mind-blowing. The indoor air that we breathe is 2 to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air. And in some cases, it's up to 100 times more polluted. That's some nasty air. So what in the world do we do? Well, introducing an air purifier that captured the attention of the country. It is called the Air Doctor. Air Doctor filters filter out 99.99. I don't know what that 0.00001 last thing they don't filter out is, but I'm pumped that it's 99.99% of dangerous contaminants, so your lungs don't have to. Okay, this includes pollutants such as allergens, pollen, pet dander, dust mites, all the things that make you sick. So Air Doctor comes with a 30-day breathe easy money back guarantee. So if you don't love it, just send it back and you'll get a refund for it, just minus the shipping. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code HUMANHOPE. You'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to this podcast, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty on any unit. That's huge. That's actually an additional $84 value. Lock in this special offer by going to airdoctorpro.com and use promo code HUMANHOPE. Okay, so we're back, and I hope you feel my heart. Every word of that I still mean. I was thinking today, I was like, I can just delete that prayer for President Trump off of my page because I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over the drama. Nobody will know. It's already like buried in the feet. I'll just delete it. But I just feel like God's like, no, This is your assignment. You are a uniter, not a divider. And if people can't handle that right now, then that's okay. Maybe they'll be able to later. So you know what I want to do today? I mean, listen, it's already a longer podcast than it normally is. But what I want to do is I want to read to you something that I've written that give us 6 pillars, may be the wrong word, but maybe the 6 principles that I'm not there yet, but I'm trying to live by in this season. In this divisive, violent, rage-filled season, I kind of wrote out what don't stand on issues, walk with people means below the surface, right? So above the surface, if I say, well, I don't stand on issues, I walk with people. People may be like, well, Carlos, like you're just like toe in the middle, like you don't want to offend anybody. No, I want to unpack this a little farther because it means standing for what you believe in while you walk with those that don't, right? So you can still stand for what you believe in, but you got to walk with those who don't. So more walking, less standing. So here we go. You guys ready? I may change this a little bit, but I want to go through the 6 pillars of what I believe my assignment is right now. Okay. I'm just going to read this to you. We're a generation drowning in division. Ideological battle lines have been drawn. They have and seen. And echo chambers amplify our outrage. And empathy withers in front of us. Friendships are strained and progress is stalled. We are called to stand our ground, to be warriors for our causes. That's where we're at. But is there a better way? A way to hold fast to our beliefs while forging connections with those who differ. Don't stand on issues, but walk with people, I believe is the solution. And here's the pillars. We seek understanding, not victory. We prioritize listening and learning over winning arguments. We believe both are possible. We hold our beliefs fiercely, but we hold them with an open hand, not a clenched fist. Number 2, we hold conviction alongside compassion. We hold our beliefs passionately, but we acknowledge the humanity of those who disagree. We reject the false choice between unwavering principles and genuine human connection. It's not one or the other. Number 3, we walk alongside, not ahead or behind. We acknowledge the complexity of human experience. We understand that the path to a better future is paved with diverse perspectives. It just is. Number 4, we chase civility, not silence. We reject the false choice between conviction and kindness. We can disagree fiercely, but with respect and a commitment to finding common ground. Number 5, we are not naive. I feel like I had to put this in here. We know that walking with those who disagree can be messy, challenging, and even infuriating. But we believe that the alternative, a world fractured by division, is far, far worse. Not only fractured by division, but by hate and rage. And last but not least, we take action, not apathy. We don't just walk, we walk towards solutions, right? We're not just taking a Sunday stroll around the lake with people. We're walking for purpose and with purpose. Finding common ground often means identifying areas where we can collaborate, even with differing perspectives. I'm telling y'all, find me one decision that has ever happened where people did not find common ground. It literally didn't happen. Common ground is essential. We have to get there. So this isn't about abandoning our principles. It's about amplifying their impact. It's about recognizing the shared humanity that binds us even across ideological divides. This path isn't easy. It requires vulnerability, patience, and a willingness to challenge our own assumptions. But I'm telling you, by walking with people, just not standing on issues, we can create a world where progress thrives and connection triumphs over division. There's my little declaration. I don't want to call it a manifesto. That like It's got juju on it. I don't like that word. But I feel like these are them. Let me read them again. I'm not going to read all the extra stuff. I'm just going to read you the 6. Ready? Number 1, we seek understanding, not victory. Number 2, we hold conviction alongside compassion. Number 3, we walk alongside, not ahead of or behind. Number 4, we chase civility, not silence. Number 5, we are not naive. And number 6, we take action, not apathy. Man, I don't know. I like it. Let me tattoo these things across my chest. We walk towards solutions. I just think these are them. Like if, and this is all stuff I'm trying to do. Okay. These aren't like 6 pillars that I've got down pat, but I just think that these are them, right? I think it's possible, and I think maybe I'll do a podcast series at some point where I, unpack these a little bit more. I think we could probably have 6 episodes where we do, what does it look like to seek understanding, not victory? What does it look like to hold conviction alongside compassion? What does it look like to chase civility, not silence? Like, I think we could do that. This is just very fresh, but I feel like we needed a little bit more stability under that statement. And so here you go. We got it. Somebody wrote a book. It just came out. I won't link it or even talk about, it may be a good book. I haven't read it, but the premise behind it is that empathy is somehow dangerous. And I get the premise. I get what the author is talking about. If empathy, suddenly you lose your conviction because you're just told to be empathetic. I just don't actually think that that's true empathy. So like whatever that book's about, I don't believe that it's true empathy, because I believe that when you have true empathy, you still have strong convictions. You're just realizing that there are different convictions that you can lean into. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. That doesn't mean that you have to even come along the solution that is being offered to you by a different worldview. It just means that, listen, it may take us a while to get to some semblance of a solution, but we're going to have to get there, because minds aren't, the only way to get somewhere isn't to flip somebody to all the way to your side. It's just not. It's not. I hear it all the time when it comes to politics. Like, I don't agree with everything that this politician says. Like, they're not my pastor; they're just a politician. I'm like, okay. You're saying that, but then you're really standing firm in your arguments, that not moving at all. But you're going to have to move a little bit towards a certain political person's ideas if you want the rest of their ideas, right? So it's like, well, they're a little bit pro this or pro that. So but they're not all the way where I want them to be. So I'm going to move a little bit towards them, and then maybe they can move a little bit towards me. And so what we see people that can get to these places with people that they feel like are on their side. And we see movement like this all the time. We literally see all these things happening that I just read. I almost called it the walkers, not the standers. But then I thought, well, I don't want people to think about zombies like, oh my gosh, it's a walker. Maybe you can help me title this. But anyway, we see a lot of walking with people that are, closer to your ideological stances. But what about people that are farther away? The same principles still apply. I just think it's time. I think it's time that we stop talking the talk. I think it's time that we stop hoping that it's just going to get better. I think it's time that we realize, you know what? We can't be silent anymore. We can't just sit around and just watch everyone else rage. We can actually step into the rage and be like, hey, guess what? I'm not going to rage. Watch what I do. Oh, the amount of DMs that I got from people going like, Carlos, like, you didn't go out. I can't believe that you didn't like rip these people. If I could have screen captured so many DMs that I got, y'all would have been vomiting if I'd posted them all. But I just feel like it's time to do these 6 things. It's time. And so what do you guys say, guys and gals? Do you Do you feel like you're at a place where you can even attempt one of them? Which is the one you're going to do? Do you want to attempt taking action over apathy? Do you want to attempt walking alongside, not ahead or behind? Like, what is it? Which is the one of these pillars that you want to attempt? I don't know. I just think it's time. I think we've gotten past the place of hoping things are going to get better without people like us that are willing to say, no, we are not going to dehumanize and demonize. We're not going to do it. Even if people do it to us, I'm not going to do it to them. What did Michelle Obama say? They go low, we go high. People hate that. I remember she got slammed for that. But I think maybe because the word low, like I'm like, low and high, like I'm like, well, how about we just listen to understand? I don't know. I hit record and I'm hoping this makes sense. And listen, yes, I lost 5,000-6,000 followers. I don't know. But I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're still here. And I'm thankful that you're listening to the podcast. It is so helpful when you do. So people have been asking me the last couple of days, Carlos, what can we do for you? You know what you can do for me? You can do two things. You can pre-order my book. That is helpful to me. I don't see any money from that because the publisher, this is how it works in authorship. They pay me in advance, and then I have to sell as many books as I can to reach that advance. So you can help me by pre-ordering my book. Go to reconnectedbook.com. And actually today I'm announcing something. If you're on the Instas, follow me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Maybe I can get back a couple hundred of the thousands of people that left. But if you pre-order the book today, I would tell you what you're getting, but I'm not announcing it till noon Central, and this podcast is going to be out in the morning. Trust me. You're going to get something today that nobody that knew what I did with the Amish and the monks is prepared for. Biggest thing I've ever done. So you'll get that bonus today. But that's how you can support me. That's how you can do it. Okay, friends, I'm gonna hit Dr. Delight here. Okay, I don't know. That felt good. Look at me. I got like lists. I've got like outlines. I've got manifestos and pillars. It's like I'm a professor or something. Okay. Well, Carlos Whittaker podcast listeners, I love you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for trying your best to walk with people instead of just standing still. More walking, less standing. I will see you next week on another episode of the Carlos Whittaker podcast. Here we go.